Hi, everybody. I'm Stephen Root. I'm playing Petey's dad. Petey is played by Annie Murphy. She's my daughter. She's my love. And now she's taken over a cult from me, Petey's dad.
How are you doing, sir?
Doing good. Good. Enjoying the 80 degrees here in Los Angeles. It's before the 90 and 100 degrees we're going to get next week, probably.
Where are you at?
I'm right in Sherman Oaks and in the burbs in LA.
Oh, that's lovely. That's I'm in Nashville, so it's like,
oh, cool.
It's a suffocating like 98 degrees right now.
And humidity, right?
Yeah. It's just sucking all of my soul right out of my body.
If you fall over, we'll understand.
Yeah. I guess I'll start since we're already bantering a little bit. Can I just say that I love your work so much that if you actually ran a cult, I'd probably join. That's how much I like you.
I so appreciate that. I will take that to heart.
Now, I don't want to get too spoilers. People need to experience this for themselves, but Alan Tudyk makes a cameo in the first appearance of the episode as himself, or in the first episode as himself. Was this punishment for his pirate accent in Dodgeball?
It's not. I think when we did Dodgeball, that was one of his, he'd done a couple of films before that. That was his first really big character-y role type thing. And he loved it. I loved him. And I've sent, we've been buddies. And when they first mentioned in the script that we'd like to kill a character actor, that it would be Alan Tudyk, I immediately got on email and said, you must do this. I love you. You have to do it. And he did, which was huge, because he is a busy guy. He's got his own show and in movies and everything else. But it was enormous that he came in and did that episode.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go next then. Stephen, first of all, thank you for your time today so much. Really do appreciate it. I would love to know what it was that attracted you to this project and this character.
Mostly the writing, because that's in these days. I'm lucky enough to not have to do it. Just I don't want to turn straw into gold. I want to turn gold into platinum, and the gold is really good writing. And if you're able to do good writing with the quality character actors and actors and voice actors, let me stress that those are the pros from Dover. We're character actors and actors, but they're the pros from Dover. To be able to do it with them is that's the reason. Writing and a great cast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Stephen, I've been a huge fan of yours ever since News Radio, and my favorite scene ever was the negotiation on a relationship and how a marriage would work out.
There's a meme on that now, right?
There is, and it's probably one of my favorites. I do have to play, since your character is a cult leader and your daughter takes over from being a New York it girl.
Yes.
If you were able to run a cult, what type would it be?
I'm sure it would be actors. Actors having to do something they didn't want to do or something they would love to do. I would be happy to run a cult of young actors and really screw them up. I don't know what we do. Probably Shakespeare, because that's how I started.
So what you're saying is you want to become a high school drama teacher?
Absolutely. Yeah, probably. I that wouldn't be bad, actually, except for the pay. Yes. Go for it. Oh, you're muted down on the bottom. Muted.
Am I unmuted now?
Now you're good.
Okay, cool. Hey, Stephen, I remember back in News Radio where you said that your character based a little bit on your dad's kind of a nonstop go get it spirit. And there seems to be some of that in this character too. So tell us a little bit more about your dad and about what parts of him might have infiltrated into this character.
Well, my dad was a construction engineer supervisor for steam power plants. So this is the kind of thing that would be finished in about a year and a half. Say you were in Sioux City, Iowa, boom, you'd be in Muncie, Indiana. And then a year and a half later, boom, you'd be in Wichita, Kansas. So he had to be ready to go at all times, and as a family we went with him. So he was we were our own little cult. There was just the four of us in the family, and he was the man. Everything that I do probably comes a little bit from him, because he was a guy that took no bullshit whatsoever, and expected you on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock to be out mowing the lawn. Which I didn't love, but in the end, being an old guy now, I appreciate his the structure that he gave me, and the structure is what this guy does in the cult. He wants everything as he wants it. I'm hoping that in the show that Annie's character will take all these cult characters and say, no, you have your own lives, get the hell out. So I think the long form is like, don't do what everybody's doing. Do what you do. Do what you do.
And just one other thing, I'd imagine that moving around a lot shaped you as an actor too. I imagine you had to come in new to every school, and
yeah. I don't have any friends from the second grade like most people do, and I think it did help me to be moving around, because then it's kind of like being a gypsy, and that's what you are as an actor. You walk into a project for 3 days, and then you walk out, and you go to a movie, then you go to a TV show, and you're always moving and grooving somewhere else. So I think that did help me relate to people quickly and form friendships quickly, but be able to go somewhere else. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. I have a question, Stephen.
Yes,
as you approach this character, this cult leader, you mentioned that the writing really was the reason why you really wanted to do this this project. How did you approach just some of the lines, the dialogue, and when you're reading it, and the way he was? I'm not going to get into spoilers, but the way he had some of his followers do things for him. What were your reactions to some of the episodes of the script?
Well, I think he's supposed to be a real enigmatic man, and somebody who will be followed. So we rehearsed a lot to find the voice for this guy. And I'm older than he would have, than the character would be, but I wanted to get him into that register so that he had some kind of tonal authority, and I think we found that. But as far as doing specific line stuff, no, I just get into the headspace of that character or whatever character that I'm playing, because even when you're doing voice, your body is still acting. You're still your body. It's not separated from your voice. So whenever I'm doing an animated project, I'm doing it with my whole sense and being, because you can't separate it otherwise.
Hi, Stephen.
Hey,
how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
Awesome. How would you describe animation as a medium? Do you feel like there's a difference between the live action and animated? Like, do you approach it any differently? I know you just talked about it a bit, but
yeah, not for a character actor. I don't approach it differently. You're still doing different characters. What's different about animation is it's almost kind of replaced theater for me, because in theater you can do put on makeup and do somebody who plays 90 years old, or you could do a very young character, and you can do that in animation because you're not seeing him, but you're playing many different characters. On King of the Hill, I played 2 characters plus 3 ancillary characters in each episode. So the quantity of things that you can do in animation, I think, is attractive, is what you're asking. Yeah, the quantity to be able to do all those different roles is really attractive, and in that sense, that's why I like to do a lot of them. It's just more exercise for the character actor brain.
I guess we'll circle all the way around again, and I've got another question. Okay, so I've already heard people make the comparison of Petey's dad with the Raven on Barry, but I also felt like
I haven't heard that.
I've heard that, but I felt like I was reminded a little bit of Jim Hudson in Get Out. So I was curious if either one of those characters were an inspiration for Petey's dad? And if not, were there any real life cult leaders that you were inspired by in any way?
You know, that's an interesting question, because that whole movie Get Out was a cult of people trying to do horrible things. I think the guy in Get Out was irredeemable, and I don't think the character in this is irredeemable. I like to be able to play characters that even if they have a bad side, there's some sense of redeemability at the end if you can have it. But that I hadn't thought at all about how cultish that was. I probably didn't do that consciously, no. But what's interesting about this role is that he's already passed. You're seeing visions from on a bad videotape of kind of a crazy man saying you should do things this way, and hopefully my daughter will do things differently. But yeah, that's what's different about this, is you're not interacting with the major characters really, although you are. I mean, it seems like you are when they're listening to these tapes. and their actions subsequently are guided by it. But I thought that was a really interesting character, and the writing was good.
Yeah, I think it was the cult aspect plus the VHS sort of situation that drummed up Get Out for me, which, by the way, you were just amazing, and you're so scary in that. So thank you for answering the question.
Thanks, of course.
There's a real sense of just enjoyment that you bring to the role, that you can kind of hear ooze through the role as it is. What did you enjoy the most about playing this character?
Probably the fact that even though I'm kind of separated from everybody, I got to, here's what I want to say. I think he's redeemable. I think this guy, as crazy as he is redeemable. He just thinks that everybody has to do what he wants to do. And I think anything that I have to be able to play where I can say, no, he's really okay. He's a good guy, but I know he's doing bad things. And I've played that a lot, even within the Barry character, but it's, they're all so entirely different. In the end, it always comes back to me because the writing is good, and you want to do an exemplary job to complement how good the writing is. So in almost anything, like you say, do you enjoy doing Barry? Yes, because the writing is so good, and I want to be able to do the best I can do for that writing. And the best thing about some shows is that you do it for the writing, and you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing an ensemble piece, and this is an ensemble piece.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Stephen, you've worked with Mike Judge so many times, whether it's been, what's it called? Idiocracy, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, mine too. And it's so true. Idiocracy is true now.
Yes, we're living it, unfortunately.
You didn't have to wait 3,000 years to do it. It's true now.
You being able to turn a red stapler into the greatest office supply ever, and then, King of the Hill, and now this. Is it almost to the point that you get like a Western Union type telegram, but only via text that goes, Steven, stop. Animated series, stop. Recording Tuesday at 7 p.m. Stop. Be there. And that's it? Or is it like more in depth to this point still?
There's more in depth. Again, I don't want to do straw into gold. I really want to do well-written stuff. So I'm fortunate enough to get a lot of offers. I don't take a lot of offers because I'm not doing this for the money now. I'm doing it for the good of whatever project I think is worthy of doing for myself. Not, that's just my personal thing. I want to be able to do good work and continue to enjoy what I'm doing. And that's a big part of it, is I want to enjoy being with the people that I'm working with. I want to enjoy seeing the fruits of their labor, whether it's writing or acting, and sit back and watch it and be able to go, Yay, that was good. Which is why I got into the business in the first place. You want to work with your friends, and you want to do good work. So, that's it.
Stephen, go back a little bit when you talk about not being in it. You don't have to be in it for the money right now. Was there a time where being able to do this voice acting was a real lifeline to you? A time when you didn't have to worry? Describe a little bit that the effect of being a really busy voice actor can save you from having to do bad shows and so on.
Absolutely. Well, for me, it was a career choice. I was doing news radio at the time when Mike had approached me for King of the Hill and then subsequently Office Space. But I was doing a job at the time, and when I was able to do King of the Hill, which we did for 13 years, that was a subsidiary income that allowed me to do different things. It allowed me to go do CSI or True Blood or something, that you wouldn't normally have a chance to do and wait for if you didn't have a subsidiary revenue stream, which I did. And subsequently after King of the Hill, I did a lot more of those things to be able to do the projects that I want to do, because popular opinion, I'm not a movie star. I don't make that kind of money. So while you have to keep a revenue stream going, this is a wonderful way to do it. And you're right. If I hadn't had that kind of animation projects to do, I wouldn't have been able to make the choices and do the good choices that I've subsequently done. Yeah.
Actually, someone had a question. Since their phone is up, I'll read it to you.
Sure.
What character do you relate to the most, and why? That was from Sammy.
I get stopped more for Office Space than anything else. But do I relate to that character? Only internally. I think the most fun I've had doing a character is probably doing many different characters on King of the Hill and doing the 2 characters that I did there. But I can't discount news radio, and I can't discount doing something as silly as dodgeball, because you had fun with the people around you. So it's really hard to pick one. I've been happy, I have to say, to be able to do a lot of HBO, which are projects, which are, I think, really stellar quality projects. So I would have to say, within the realm, probably doing the stuff that I've done for HBO has been my favorite stuff.
I guess for my question would be, when it comes to acting, doing animation or live action, obviously, which one do you feel like you have to prep for? I mean, obviously getting into characters all the same work, but which one do you feel like it's a little bit more challenging for you to like slip into the role?
Not at all. I think everything that I do, I have to prep for. If it's the smallest role on, Adventure Time, or it's a Barry doing it for 4 years. I like prep, and I like rehearsal, and I think that comes from doing theater and off Broadway and Broadway. I like to know things backwards, so that's my base. All right, I know what I'm going to do, and then from there you can play. Once you have a solid base of what you're going to do, then you can do different stuff on it. So whether the role is very small or very big, I prep and do a lot of rehearsal personally before I ever get to set. There's a lot of movies that they don't do rehearsal on, that you just step onto set and you have to be ready to go, because they've hired you for X, Y, and Z. And that's what they want to see, and you don't have time to do it except on camera. So I do a lot of prep myself.
Stephen, you talked about King of the Hill. Can you maybe talk about your excitement for the upcoming revival of the show, and maybe you have anything to spoil, possibly, maybe tease a bit?
Well, I think it's been said already that the show is, unlike a lot of other animation shows, it's going to move ahead in time. We left the show 10 years ago. It's 10 years from now. And now Bobby, who was 12, then is 22. He's has his own restaurant. He has his own set of friends and problems. The people that populate King of the Hill from before are still there. And they have to deal with how the world is today. They have gone through COVID, just like everybody else did, and they have gone through the sexual transition of society's perceptions, and they've got to go through that. So it'll be different than The Simpsons, who everybody stays the same age. You know, it's I think a really important step up to do that with the show.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for the King of the Hill revival.
Me too.
I would like to bring up what is possibly your most important role ever, DEA agent in Crocodile Dundee 2.
Absolutely.
As a kid, I loved Crocodile Dundee.
No. Excuse me. DEA toilet.
Well, what I want to say is, I loved Crocodile Dundee growing up. Do you remember any good stories working with Paul Hogan or having one of film's most iconic knives on your throat amongst other places?
Yeah, amongst other places. Yeah, I remember that was I had only done a kind of a horror film called Monkey Shines before that, George Romero film. And this was the second film I got right after that. So it was my first time being on set for a longer period of time. And I have to tell you that the rumors are true. We would finish a day and we would go to the food truck, and there would be at least 3 cases of Foster's there. And that seems like a cliche, but there was, and he was that kind of guy. He was a really down-to-earth kind of guy and liked to have a beer and discuss the day. And that was great. And it was a nice introduction for me to the business of film.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Without doing any spoiling, Stephen, what are you most excited for audiences to experience with Praise Petey?
The bleeped words. This is an adult show, so every once in a while you're going to get some phrases that are dicey, but to me the interstitial throwaway lines in this show are the best things. They're really, really funny. So I think people are going to enjoy the adult aspect of this show because they're not expecting that, I think, immediately. Have you guys seen the pilot? Yeah, okay. So you're not immediately expecting that. But as we get into show 2 and 3, it's like, what the bleep are we doing here? and those kind of small, really fun things that come out in the script are why I want to watch it, because it's really funny.
I think I've already stolen the phrase Jessica Alba's diaper at least 3 times, which I took from the show.
Love it. John Cho is really funny in this show. Really funny. And it's not something I would know as a fellow character actor that he, could do that kind of comedy, and he's phenomenal. And Annie, is great and has done comedy for years, but that was nice to see that. I don't know if you guys know Paget Brewster, who's a beautiful voiceover artist. Everything that comes out of her mouth is funny. So again, as a fan, I like to be a fan of the shows that I pick and not read the script too much, because I want to see the end product. When I was doing Barry, I did a lot of prep work on my stuff, but I didn't want to read what was coming up so much. I wanted to see it as a fanboy. And I think that's kind of fun. You get to do it a little more with animation because it takes a lot more time to, you know, do the animation, and you don't see it for 9 months and you go, oh, what was this about? I don't know. And I think that's great. That's part of the deal.
Stephen, you had mentioned a couple of times that you know, the importance of the script was what drew you to this project and how significant the words were to you. Was there one particular line when you were reading, whether the pilot episode or the second episode, and you said, that's it, boom, I got to be a part of this?
Well, it starts off with him with the wives, you know, he's surrounded by the wives. What do you do? Well, I get him his bacon. Well, I get him his sausage. I thought one of the funniest things in it, what probably did clinch it, is like the bed warmer. Somebody comes in and warms your bed in the morning. I mean, that's weird stuff. And and as many bent characters as I play, that was right up my milieu. So yeah, that kind of stuff, even early on, got me into it.
Stephen, you mentioned rehearsals a bunch, and I was wondering, has this changed at all for animation? Do you still get to do this by sitting around a room and reading the script with everyone else and things like that? Or since COVID and so forth, are you doing a lot more of it just one-on-one?
Yeah, doing a lot more of it one-on-one, and I wish we could do it. We should get at least two or three people with you in the studio. It's so hard. And I understand as a producer, the caveats for that. But as an actor, I want to go, you know, have somebody next to me and do something funny and react to that and be able to riff on that. I think we all character actors do, and all actors do. It's the one thing about the new world that I really miss is you can't go into a room, a producer's room, and win a role in the room anymore because of whatever your personal presence is and your personal energy that you can bring to an audition. That doesn't happen in a room anymore. It only happens on a tape. And while I understand that you see more people that way, you're not getting a personal experience. So I long for those days to be able to win a role in a room.
Do you have a favorite line or favorite moment from Praise Petey? Obviously, like no spoilers whatsoever.
Oh God, I'd have to go through to find you one. I don't have one off the top of my head, but again, I've only, like you guys, I've only seen, you know, what, 3 or 4 of these, but they're all great. They're all great, and I know there's some really wonderful stuff coming up as well. So I'll let us discover together.
Steven, any chance you take the Liam Neeson, Bob Odenkirk route and maybe star in an action film by yourself? Maybe like shoot up some enemies.
Well, I'm doing an action film right now, actually, in London and Italy, with Idris Elba and John Cena. I know those are 2 names you wouldn't put together.
That sounds awesome.
It's a movie called Heads of State. It's a kind of a buddy action movie where Idris is playing the prime minister, John is playing the president, an actor president, and they have some trouble together and have to get away from the bad guys, and it's kind of a midnight run type of thing. So I'm shooting that now, and I'm hopefully going to shoot some more in London on the 12th. It'll depend on what happens with the AFTRA strike, but I'll be over there ready to go. So you can look forward to that one. It's called Heads of State.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, I would say you should probably check out the Suicide Squad with those 2 guys. They're actually really good together. I love those guys.
They're great.
Stephen, last question, because we're almost out of time, but over the course of your career, roughly how many red staplers would you guess you've been gifted?
Not so much that as that people expect me to have them on me to sign them. It's like, so I've had to buy them and take them to different sets. Although pretty much every set I go to has a cardboard box of 7 staplers in it, and I sign them up. apparently the AD's new job is to do that on every set that I go to.
Yeah, that's a merging merchandise opportunity that you're missing out on, I think. Yeah.
No, I'm happy to do it. I love the fact that Mike's work has lasted that long, that different generations keep seeing it, and even though the computers look old and weird, it's still relevant.
It's so good. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
Really appreciate it.